Welcome to Earthwatch, coming to you from Kirstenbosch Botanical Gardens, voted one of the top 7 most beautiful botanical gardens in the world.
Coming up in this week's show, we take a look at why some conservation campaigns work while others don't. Where are marketing experts falling short and what are they doing well? Also, as South Africans, we do enjoy our beverages, so our tip of the week is all about changing your drinking habits to save the planet.
But first, we take a look at urban farming, which is a hot new trend that most provinces are pretty keen to roll out. From vegetable patches to rooftop gardens, we take a look at what works for you, even if you don't have much space to do it in. Tucked in the heart of downtown Joburg is this diamond, the African Diamond Rooftop Garden. Not what you'd expect to see in this part of town. But urban farming has become something of a revolution in cities like this around the world. Chadiso Pahlani explains the benefits.
There is something that we can do as a community. We can plant our own food within our own garden. We can do urban agriculture and it can be successful. Because you start small, we have small tires, you start with that small tires, and at the same time you grow a lot of food for your family. And again, how do you sustain yourself? You sustain yourself maybe by selling to other neighbors who are lazy, who don't want to plant the food.
It's not only a way for people to sustain themselves, it serves as an upliftment and employment scheme as well. Chadiso and others who work on this project believe it's the way of the future.
You know, there's this whole battle between industrial agriculture and urban agriculture, and I really hope that it's the future. Because I feel like so many people are becoming active in it, and you know, it's a way for people to sustain themselves, and so I want to see that.
But it's not just lower income groups that are buying into the trend. Over in Joburg's upmarket northern suburbs, the Saxon Hotel boasts a rooftop garden that provides all the fresh produce for the hotel's restaurant.
I think one of the huge benefits of having the garden is to be able to serve literally from the garden. Nothing sort of specific has been sprayed onto anything, and it gets served in the restaurant that night. So literally the guys come and pick in the morning and serve it. So it's all in your sort of control.
But what if you don't have a whole rooftop to plant a garden? How can you get involved in urban agriculture with limited space? We went to botanist David Viljoen for some answers.
First of all, I think if you have a small living space, if you even have a balcony, you can start your own food gardening on a balcony. Often we can either go vertically if we don't have the horizontal width or length on a property. So we can grow vegetables onto a wall. We can plant in any container. We can plant in a normal potting soil bag. We can plant in tires. We can plant in raised boxes. This is just a normal threaded rod, and these things are available at any hardware store. And then at the bottom of this, we basically push the rod through the drainage hole of the container, and then we just tie it with a nut and a bolt, and very easily we fill this up with soil, and then from here we can have our plants growing upwards and even your trailing plants, and then eventually we'll have this tower, and in a very small and limited space we can grow quite a number of different plants.
Apart from offsetting your carbon footprint and saving money, there are other benefits to starting your own veggie patch.
I think with the rooftop garden, one can save on time, and it's just relaxing. Gardening is relaxing, so it does something to your inner soul. There's a financial benefit to that as well, where you can harvest your own fresh produce from your own roof or your own balcony. But then even educating your children or getting children involved in a small space and educating them about growing your own food. If we don't educate our children, which will be our future one day, where are we going to invest in?
With current soaring food costs, it makes sense to start a vegetable garden, and all you need is an old tire, some seedlings and some soil to start one of your own.
Every day we are bombarded by around 10,000 advertising messages, and at least some of those relate to recycling or saving the earth in some way. But do we sit up and take notice, or are the marketing experts getting it all wrong? We explored which environmental campaigns work and which don't, and why.
How to get attention in a world where getting attention is becoming really, really difficult, you know. Already we're exposed to at least 10,000 advertising messages a day. Everybody says, good heavens, can't be possible. I promise you, go out and count them. Start early in the morning and count the advertising messages that you're exposed to, and you'll probably give up at about 3,000.
Chris Moerdyk is one of the country's top marketing analysts. He says 50 billion rand a year is being wasted on ill-conceived marketing campaigns. The answer, he believes, lies in simplicity. Moerdyk believes Earth Hour is an example of a successful environmental campaign because the call to action is clear and simple. Other experts agree.
I remember when it was Earth Hour last year, they did a brilliant social media campaign when they sent out invitations to a bunch of influencers in South Africa and gave them a list of things to do in the dark. And it was quite nice because people were talking about it and more people were switching off their lights and getting involved, so stuff like that.
Earthwatch took to the streets to quiz people about various green campaigns. It seems most people had no idea about Greenpeace or Arbor Day.
No, personally, I don't know what Greenpeace is.
I'm not sure about it.
Arbor Day. Yeah. I've never heard of it as well.
But everybody knew about Earth Hour.
For me, Earth Hour is basically an hour where everybody puts off the electricity, so that we can save.
An hour dedicated to bettering or saving the environment in whichever way you can.
The reason many green campaigns fail is because the public is saturated.
With environmental things, it's extremely difficult to try and compete for the consumer's attention. And the consumer's attention these days is one of the most sought after commodities on earth by all the media and all the great brands and of course all the NGOs and things like that. You know what I think is important is for the corporate world and NGOs and governments to actually lead by example rather than to be too focused on creating awareness. Now, everybody in South Africa is aware that rhinos are facing extinction, but the point is that awareness doesn't convert into stopping the poachers from shooting the rhino. That's the problem.
On the subject of environmental campaigns, Earth Hour is coming up on March 29th, so make sure that's on your calendar. Moving to other parts of the world now, let's take a look at what else is making eco-news headlines.
One of the world's greatest prawn producers, Mozambique, has seen a decline in recent years. The drop is believed to have started in 2012 when prawn exports halved and have been at the same level since. The cause of the decline is not confirmed, but illegal fishing and a growing population of invasive species are suspected to be contributing factors. Beijing's struggle with pollution is at an all-time high. The World Health Organization is calling for China to see it as a crisis. The US Environmental Agency considers any level above 300 to be hazardous, and Beijing has clocked levels of nearly 500. Authorities have introduced numerous policies to clean up the environment, but the pollution seems to be getting worse. And a new study has found a link between dramatic intensifications of trade winds and cooler global temperatures. The 20-year research outlines that the trade winds blowing over the Pacific have accelerated the circulation of the Pacific Ocean, and that in turn pushed the cooler water up to the surface. The lead author of the study says the trade wind increase and temperature change is not permanent, and when the wind strength returns to normal, the heat will quickly return, and that, coupled with global warming, could result in a big spike in temperatures. We all know we should recycle our Coke cans and our beer bottles and put our tea bags in the compost. But there are some other ways you can make small changes to your drinking habits that will result in big changes to the earth. If a daily dose of caffeine is the way you start your day, then why not make a small adjustment that could save you cash and the environment? Take your own reusable coffee mug and ask the coffee shop to fill it. This will keep your coffee hotter for longer, cut down on waste products, and many coffee spots offer a discount when using your own mug. For those who get their fix at home, instead of using a teaspoon to mix your coffee, use a piece of pasta from the cupboard, which is biodegradable. It does the same job, and you can save on your washing up load. Consider a keg rental for your party from your local bottle store. It'll save you money, the environment and cleaning up. And most importantly, cut up the plastic packaging around your bottles and cans so that if it ends up in the ocean, it won't entangle and harm the wildlife. A whopping 340 billion bottles and cans end up in the ocean or landfills every year. Water bottles are a chief culprit. Only buy a bottle of water as a last resort. South Africa's water is safe to drink, and by refilling a bottle with tap water, you can save 4,000 Rand annually. And most countries' regulations for safe tap water are stricter than for safe bottled water. And a simple thing you can do for the environment is rethinking your straw. Nearly 1 billion straws are used every day worldwide, with most of them not being recycled. So before you use a straw, ask yourself if you really need it, or use the same straw for your second drink.
Remember, some of our most awesome stories here on Earthwatch come from you. So please feel free to send us any footage you might find interesting or something you'd like to see on the show. Here's this week's viewer submission. PE resident Barbie Monet sent us these pictures she took of the recent red tide that affected the Eastern Cape coastline. The red tide phenomenon is an algae bloom which can deplete the water of oxygen, causing the marine biology to suffocate to death. It can be dangerous to humans if they eat seafood that has been contaminated. Marine experts have said this particular bout of red tide is the most severe they've seen, with scores of people descending onto the beaches to view the unique event. Red tide can be a natural occurrence, but human activity producing increased nutrients in the water can prompt the bloom.
That's it from the Earthwatch team for this week. Make sure you tune in again next week when we'll take a look at South Africa's ongoing battle to save our rhino.
For now, though, we leave you with a look at who's new in the zoo, zoo borns from around the world. Catch you next time.
Take care.